Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Jose from Ruby Tools.
And today we're going to talk about gauge porcelain tile panels and the importance of surface prep.
Or extra large panels or slabs. That's what they call in floor decor.
Okay, so they have a lot of names.
They have a lot of names, but it's still big tile.
Yes, and it's beautiful. It changes the way a room looks completely without all those busy grout joints. The one complaint my wife has about everything is always the grout joints and the grout. And so this is a solution for that, and it gives that really high-end look.
I know the problem is take some preparation, to install this one.
Correct.
And I would say, it's interesting because you need to have knowledge, right tools, and setting materials. Setting material because at the beginning, you need to prepare, the area that you want to do this.
Correct.
Because if you fail on one of those three,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Also, guys, this is a great opportunity to get a whole new set of tools.
That's right. But also, if you have any question during the training, you can type, the question. That way we know what is the questions.
Type it into the chat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So.
But again, like I said, first thing when you're going is to prep. You need to inspect the location where you go do the installation.
Right.
You need to find out how's the floor or how's the wall.
Correct.
That way you need to prepare. That's the key of this job.
It has to be flat to 1/8 of an inch and 10 feet.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
Think about that for a second. So how are we going to do that on a floor? We're going to do that probably. The best way to achieve that is with self-levelers. On the walls, we're going to have to use screed coats, and we're going to have to use screed bars to go ahead and flatten all of that surface out.
It's a lot of preparation.
Correct. So let's talk about cutting for...
Well, cutting is going to be interesting because now we're talking is a big tile.
Yeah, it is.
It's basically the same as a 12 by 12 tile. You need to have a scoring and you need to have a breaker. Basically, that's what you need to do. The only problem is we're talking a big tile.
Yes, we are.
And the other thing that is very interesting is how they prepare or how they make those panels. This is not a regular tile. I call the regular tile like a large format tile. This is a GPT, that gauge porcelain tile. The reason is a lot of misconfusion or understanding what is the material and how they cut. Because for a specific in this material, you can do a 90 cuts. Because what happens is it's going to be break. So that's one thing that is very important.
It reminds me a lot of glass. I did a lot of work with glass when I built racquetball courts and I put glass walls on the back. And you could throw a hammer at the glass and it wouldn't break. And if I nicked the corner, that glass would explode in my hands right there. And so that's the best way I can describe this. It feels and looks a lot like glass.
Mostly like a glass. Especially, scoring this one is like we're scoring, the glass to cut it and everything. So we're going to be, show you later on how we cut, dry cut. Or you can do it, a wet machine that cut that one too in those. But again, for me, it's important, knowing, setting materials, what kind of mortar you want to use. But it's important also that you need to have a specific tables, a specific tool for this installation.
Yes.
Especially when we do, in the floor, because the mentality was, do not step in the tile.
Correct. That changes now. All of that changes now.
Now, once that you put this one out, you need to have a process to install this one in the floor, and then you can walk. That cracked me out the first time I was doing this.
Well, so the biggest problem, and that's a great point, the biggest problem you're going to have with something like this would be to trap air underneath there, because then I'm not going to get that solid bond, which is really, really important. By having trapped air in there, if I dropped my keys on the floor,
not only that,
I could shatter it, and so I need to come up with a method to get that air out of the system.
They said that a 100-pound lady with a high heel stepping in that pocket of air, they can break the tile.
All right, this is the fun part right here. We get to talk about tools. I'm going to pass this section off to Jose, and Jose's going to explain them.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, today we want to explain, the process, how to work with those tools. Remember, those slabs is going to be moving in a frame. Floor Decor, they deliver it to the job site. They're going to deliver it outside. You need to, as installer, you need to move these slabs inside to the job site. That's the reason you need to have something like a transporter. Let me go call my partner in crime, Alan, to show, how, the transporter works. So basically, this is two tools in one. One is the trolley, and the other one is the transporter. The transporter has suction cups to put that one, and we are able to lift this one to work with the panel, to transport to one point to the other one. Remember, it's very important because if you try to work manually, the flexibility of this slab, they can break very easy. You try to avoid accidents. That's why you need something like this with a transporter. Second, you need to know, as a customer, you need to know what is the weight of this panel. How much is it? The transporter is able to transport and take these panels. That's what you need to know. That's the right tool that you need to know. In this specific material, we can go up to 275 pounds to lifting in this material. This specific slab, I made my homework, this is 137 pounds. Now, remember I was talking, this is a combination of the tools, combination of the panel, and the combination now the setting materials. You need to add mortar behind this when you go do the installation. You need to know how much weight is going to be the whole process. So basically this is to move, to put in the panels. You can pick it off flat, just in case they deliver a flat panel, or they can pick it up from the airframe. Also, the trolley is give you the ability, to go through doors 36 inches. The capacity again is 275 pounds with this transporter. Very easy to move. Basically, it's a very important communication in your team. So basically telling, the customer, this is a job now for no one person. This is a job for 3 or 4 people that need to be working. Communication is very important. Look at how it's easy. We're going to count 1, 2, 3. We go up. We're going to put in the floor because I need to see my hands is proper, way. And we say 1, 2, 3, go up. And we go set up to pick it up, the panel. Of course, I did it dry. I don't remove, the cap because I just want to show you how that works. So basically now I'm ready. If I take the cap, also, I forgot about, you need to clean always the panels before you pick it up. Because the dust, remember this is coming in the warehouse, you have dust, you have everything. You need to use a microfabric, towel to clean that surface and be sure. Do not use water, because water is going to make the suction cup to slice. So do not use water. That's what you need to know. So basically, this is the way to transport. Also, if you need to make some cut, let's go put that one back again to the trolley. So basically, it's easy because put it on and keep it. Now, if I need to make cuts, I need to prepare, this for, to cut the material. We have a cutter, it's called a sling cutter, that is able to cut this one as a regular tile. I'm going to show you how to work with this. We're going to be using the Sling Cutter Plus G2 to cut the material. It consists of rails, suction cups, and of course, this is the car where they have the scoring wheel. Basically, this is a regular tile. What we need to do is a scoring on top of that one. We're going to make a cut of 12 inches, panel, the slabs that you can see it. It's always mandatory when you are scoring in this material that you be sure when you go in scoring, you be on top of the table. If you see the table have different, metals to hold the panel, it's very important that when you are scoring, need to be on top of the rail. Basically, it's like a suction cups. You put it on, be sure everything is tight. And this is the scoring wheel. And basically what you want to hear is the noise as ripping a piece of paper. So basically, what you do it is you're going to be in the corner, and basically you go, and then you walk. That's what you want to hear. I don't know if the camera can show what I'm scoring. You can see the perfect line. You want to be sure that you hear that noise, because if you don't hear a noise that is like a squeezing, probably the panel is not going to break the way that you want to do. And after that, we need, to lose this one. Can you give me the breaker? Now, we have two different breakers. Bring me the other one. This is we call the heavy-duty breaker. This one cut from 3 millimeters up to 15 millimeters. The kit is coming with this one here. You can see it's very different. This one cut from 3 millimeter up to 8 millimeters. So basically, this panel is 7.5 millimeter. That's what they sell. I can use both, but when I do this kind of cut, I like to use, the heavy duty because they give me more opportunity to work, with the size of the cut. Basically, what you want to do, this is a trick that I always explain to the people is, whatever you start scoring, that's the place that you want to start cutting first. So if you have a right hand, you come from the right to the left. If you left, you're coming from left to the right. That's where the first part, you're going to do the breaking. Basically, what you want to do is, you set up, because this is going to be a big piece. He's going to be holding right here, because this piece can be on the floor if nobody's helping me. He's going to be, putting, some safety glasses and safety gloves. Because remember, we're talking a material that is sharp as a knife. You can get cut. Always prepare for, that you don't have a big accident. And most of the time, this is what you need to do. You set out the breaker, and they have like a little arrow here that's what you want to be sure that's when you score. And basically what you do is set up, be sure the metal here is touching, and the only you need to do is just handle a little bit and just tie a lot until you hear a little click. That's it. This panel is already breaking. So now I need to go to the other side, do the same thing. Go over there, please. All right, the panel is already open, completed. And most of the time, this is what we're going to do it. I need to put my gloves. We're going to move this panel, what I'm scoring, like a 1/4 inch from the table. 1/4 inch, too much right there. And what I would say, we count 1, 2, 3, and we go cut this one. 1, 2, 3. And this is a perfect cut. Now remember, this edge, I just cut it. You need to clean this one because you can cut yourself. Or if you install this piece without cleaning, that's going to be, very hard, to cut somebody. I'm going to show you how to clean. Let's put this one in the floor for now. Give me a minute. To clean, we use those diamond pads. If you have any question, please answer your hand or write a question because I know it's a lot of questions about cutting, and I prefer that you ask us. That way we can, answer, the right way. But how to work with this is very important. This is like a sandpaper. If we do it like this, you'll be damaged to the diamond. This one is basically you want to work in angle. So basically you want to clean the cut. My tendency is I'm always clean the top and clean the bottom because sometimes you can cut yourself. A lot of people, they just clean the top, they forgot the bottom, and those also, they can cut yourself. Once I just clean, this one is already, you look at, you cut it perfectly. It's almost like a factory edge. Remember, you need to be sure, to leave a gap. Don't try to use, a very small, it's a lot of big mistake using 132 clips. That's not allowed to this installation. You need to have expansion and contraction. This is very important. You understand the rules. If you don't understand, question to us. Questions, certain material like Mapei, Ruby tool, we can answer, this kind of question because we do this every single day. These panels is all ready to install. Now, before I go install, I need to go check how's my floor. I need to go check my walls. Basically, I need to go now to turn and call back, Sam, to come here and explain, some of this area because this is one of the most important part right now for me in the installation. Sam, come here for a moment. Correct me if I'm correct. I think, the panels are ready to go install.
Yep.
But if my floor is not level.
Oh, you have to have a level floor. So the first things first, you want to make sure that the pathway from where the panel is to where it's going is clean. Can the dolly, if this is what we're going to use, can the cart, if this is what we're going to use, can it make that passage? You want to clear the room of everything.
A lot of question is in the bathrooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
The bathroom is not as big as this.
Right.
You need to be clean. You need to be sure how high is the ceiling.
Right.
You need to check, all surrounded, cabinet and everything, because this is now, I'm 6 foot, but this is a little bit bigger than me.
Yeah.
This is like a, 8 foot. This is the 8 foot, but at the 10 foot, it's more fun to work with that.
Transporting the panels is probably one of the toughest things that because at no point in time in our careers as tile installers had the tile been this big. It was always 12 by 12, 18 by 18. You picked up a box, you were able to walk up a stairs, you were able to walk anywhere. Now, I have this big giant panel. I have to be concerned about the logistics of bringing it from point A to point B.
And the point is, remember, you're a salesperson for Floor and Decor. You need to ask some questions to the installers and the customer where they want to do this installation.
Correct.
How big is your room? How big is the area that you want to work? Of course, like he said before, my wife, when they saw this one, he said, I want this one in my house. Because there's, less ground line to clean. This is, but it's a lot of preparation. You have multi-level building. How big is the elevator? Where's the stairs? If you have any hole to go inside, it's a lot of questions before you go and sell or the customer sells this one.
Correct.
I would say, as a salesperson for Floor Decor, I ask questions always to the customer. Where you going to do the installation? Is they able to do it? Be sure you have an installer that can do that.
I'll give you a great example. I'm getting ready to do my bathroom in my bedroom. Every room in my house has been remodeled except my bedroom and my bathroom. So I'm getting ready to do that. I informed my lovely wife that I'll be removing all the furniture out of the bedroom because I need that space to do this so I can then go ahead and make a clear shot into the bathroom. And the walls are going to get done. I'm even going to do the ceiling and the lids in the bathroom. I'm doing, well, when you're Sam the floor man, you're held to a different standard. So making sure that the surrounding areas and the areas where you're going to be putting this in is perfectly clean, level, flat, and plumb.
Well, now, that's what you need to explain to that one. Let me move this.
Absolutely.
That way you can explain.
So in the past, self-leveler was never a ceramic tile guy's thing. It was always vinyl guy thing. But now we have panels like this. They're thinner, they're bigger, they're luxurious, they look great. When the finished product is down, it looks amazing, but it requires an amazingly flat floor and flat walls to do that. So self-levelers are designed to go down on floors. I'm gonna go back here for a second. I'm gonna grab a box because I have something I want to talk to you about. All Mapei products, all of our products come in 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and then man pictures. Now this is important because you want to read the instructions. The days of when I first started in this, where we threw some cement, we threw a handful of lime in there, we started adding water, we threw a little more sand, those days are over with. It's already pre-made and it's done scientifically. The scientists that manufacture this product do it way better than you could do it on your own. Just find out how much water is supposed to go in here by looking for the blue water drop, measure the water, pour it into the bucket, and then pour the powder on top and mix. You're not smarter than the person who went ahead and designed this product. Trust me, I know them. This product was specifically designed for thin panel installations, floor and wall. There's other products. There's a ready-to-use product, GPT. There are other products out there that you can use for this. This is the premier product, Caraflex Super. So first things first, floor's level, walls are flat, everything's good to go. Next thing, let's get our products. You want to measure and mix properly. You want to follow the directions. I know as men, that's not a strong point of ours, but this is no time to be going rogue. Follow the instructions that is on the bucket, or on the product. So now that we know what mortar to use, let's make sure we're using the proper tools to mix that mortar, because your dad's mixer isn't going to cut it in this day and age. Say, come on out here, show me what you got.
Sam, this is the most important part. I'm always telling the people, you mixing with that drill,
Yeah,
there's a lot of chemicals inside here.
there's a lot of chemicals in here.
And also, my understanding, correct me, you're supposed to have a specific RPM when you're mixing.
Right, so the science behind that is that RPM is shearing and breaking up the cement particles and the sand particles in there, and also spreading the latex that's in a powdered form. The proper amount of water that you add then will turn that latex into a milk and wrap itself around the cement particles. So we get maximum flexibility plus maximum strength. And you need the proper drill to ensure that.
Let me ask another question before I go to the drill. Do you mix half of the bag?
Okay, so the way I do this is I put all the water in a bucket and then I pour half the bag into the bucket. I mix that slurry up and then I add the rest of the powder.
But if I need only half?
Oh, no, we can't do that.
Oh, that's a big mistake in the job site.
Oh, absolutely. And here's why. I need you to think about this. This is manufactured in a factory. The powder comes out of a hopper, down a chute, gets dumped into the bag. All right. Inside of that bag, inside of this bag, there's sand, cement, latex, and other ingredients. The heaviest item in that matrix is the sand. So now this goes down an assembly line, bouncing up and down, gets kicked and laid flat, gets put onto a pallet, then gets stuck onto a shelf, then gets thrown in the back of the installer's truck and is sitting there jiggling and bouncing around. The sand is gravitating towards the bottom of the packaging. So by mixing the whole thing, I ensure I have the proper mixture
That's
of
the reason.
sand and cement ratio.
Yeah, that's the reason, a proper mixer, especially, that sign design is made it for move those mortar, correctly.
Right.
It's like a science, you remember. And
Yes.
second, mixer is a specific, Ruby mixer is a specific for work, with setting materials. You can mix, mortar, you can mix, a grout, you can mix also, the mud set.
Right.
Because they have the RPMs, to move that one. They have a switch down here that for different speed. And second, it's easy and ergonomic that you can be, doing, that one.
Yeah, instead of holding with one hand like we used to have to and then fighting the drill the whole time.
Fighting, because most of the time when you turn it on, this is start very slow and not fast like a regular drill. And most of the time the bucket start dancing to you and make a mess.
Well, that's the other thing, and the reason the bucket is dancing is the paddles on the blade. An old box blade, all it's doing is just rotating product around in a circle, whereas this one is lifting it up off the bottom, bringing it up and bringing it back up and around, and we're getting a homogeneous blend of the materials and the water, and it's smooth and it minimizes that torque on the bucket.
Yeah, especially, you're using too much speed.
Yes.
You damage, the chemicals.
You are
But
correct.
when you have the proper RPM, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
I just want to bring that one because I see a lot in the job site.
Yes, absolutely.
Bob, let's go start mixing some mortar.
Let's go
now.
mix some mortar.
All right.
Thank you. All right. The back of the tile's nice and clean. This is exactly how it should be. If it's not this way, you need to go back and clean it again. By the way, you clean with clean water. Don't keep using dirty water to clean because you're taking the dirt and the water and putting it on top of the back. Clean with clean water. So now there's nothing to get in the way. What's the next step? We need the trowel mortar. Well, what trowel do we use? Let me bring in my friend over here, and he's going to explain what trowels we're going to use.
Yeah, Sam, this is something very important. When we're working with large format tile, 20 by 20 and up, you need to use, according by the NTCA, the Euro trowel.
Oh.
The reason is, especially in this size of the tile, you don't have the ability when you have like a 12 by 12 that you put it on and you can move it and collapse those ridges.
Correct.
With this one, because it's like a phony, sizes,
Right.
you have a half, quarter back, also like a quarter between lines.
Right.
It's easy when you set up, just in case you need to move just a little bit, because if you're against the wall, you don't have too much.
Correct.
And remember, we're talking a 4x8 or 5x10 tile. And later on, we're going to explain, about the vibrators machine. That's the one that's helped to collapse that one. That's why the NTCA advised that the Euro trowel is for everything bigger than 20x20 tile.
Right. And it only makes sense. I mean, this technology was invented in Europe. It was used in Europe for years and years, and they went through the learning curve on what trowel to use. There's no sense in fighting what works.
No, this, like you said,
22
years this has been the market in Europe. Now we are getting very popular here.
Yes.
We're behind almost for 20 years.
Hey, that's.
But it is what it is, right? But we are going to do good.
Yep.
Because they passed, some problems and they corrected. Now we can have that knowledge. But also, when you clean this one, don't leave water.
No.
Because you're going to add more water for that.
Right. You want to dry the water off and let the mortar do its job.
That's right. And also, it's very important, I want to explain, right now, the panel is holding just only by 6 suction cups. So the whole panel is in the air. It's very important that every time when you're working, you need to put your hands underneath.
Give it a little bit of support.
And second, I see this one in training. A lot of people start, mortar, and they try to clean, the trowel.
Yeah.
And they hit the panel.
No.
What happens is you can break that panel.
Correct.
And that's not $299,
No.
This is a little bit more expensive,
This is one piece of tile. This is not a series of tiles. This is one piece of tile. So absolutely treat it with respect, treat it with dignity, use the proper tools.
That's right. But now it's time to get dirt, and I'm going outside.
All right. So let's go ahead and we'll bring in the mortar. Dave, Tom, come on out here. Dave and Tom are going to help me out on this. Perfect. So, first things first, proper tool with the proper ridges. If you notice on here, these are deeper, these are shallower. What's going to happen is that as we press this tile down, this is going to collapse. They're going to fall into each other, and it's going to take all the voids out that are underneath there. Voids and air are not our friend in this application. We want a, big word, monolithic layer of material all the way across this after it's installed. Second big word, I know I'm throwing 2 of them at you at once. So if you have any questions, what are we supposed to do? Let me see. Let me hear you say it. I heard somebody say it. We're going to go on to the chat and ask the questions, like what does monolithic mean, or what does thixotropic mean? You're like, what? That is a big word. Ketchup is thixotropic. The advent and the discovery of how to put thixotropic properties into mortar revolutionized the tile business. We were able to go from putting 4 1/4 wall tiles on a wall to putting bigger and bigger and bigger tiles on a wall because of that. Think about it. Ketchup. I unscrew the cap of the bottle of ketchup. I turn it upside down. What happens? What happens? Nothing. Nothing. The ketchup's just hanging there. How is it defying gravity? It is just hanging there because it has thixotropic properties. As I agitate the bottle, the thixotropic properties kick in, and now it starts to allow the ketchup to flow out of the bottle. When I stop agitating it, it stops flowing. This is the same thing with this mortar. This mortar will allow me to go ahead and place the mortar, and it will stay. The ridges will stay. But as soon as I agitate that system just a little bit, they'll collapse down, creating this monolithic layer, which is ultimately our goal. Guys, if you would please, go right ahead. First thing we need to do is flat trowel it, is that correct? And remember, this is like having a son that is a drummer in a band. They have to be supported, the edges sometimes, so support your edges. So one thing about these installations, gentlemen, you can go right ahead. One thing about these installations is this is not a one-man job. I used to be able to go into a bathroom with a stack of 4 1/4 wall tile on one hand, spread the mastic on the wall, and start applying and stacking the tile. But those days are over with. You need a team of guys. And the more experience that they get with this, the more they use the product, the better this is going to be. This product was specifically designed with thin tile in mind. You want to flat trowel it down first. Why do I want to do that? I want to make sure that every nook and cranny on the surface of this tile is coated with mortar before I go ahead and put the notch in. The notch is going to define the thickness. It's like a gauge on how much material we put down. But right now we want to make sure that we've got the whole thing contacted with mortar. All right, now that we've got it completely covered, you're like, well, that looks like a mess, Sam. Look, our initial intent was to make sure that we had a coating across the top. Now we're gonna turn the trowels around, use the trowel notch side, and we're gonna make sure we put it on there. By the way, this mortar is Caraflex Super. I need you to think about the word super. And just really quickly, one of the things about Caraflex Super, like our Ultra Color Plus FA grout, is this zero label. And you're like, well, what is that? Mapei's concern for the environment is off the chain. And so with this product, we've taken every precaution we can to minimize our impact on the environment. But in the end, there's still an impact. And so we went ahead and donated with carbon offsets to make sure that we're not impacting the environment in any way, shape, or form. And you're like, dude, what does that mean? What that means is we donated money so they could go ahead and buy trees and plant them on planet Earth to produce oxygen to offset the carbon that we went ahead and generated by manufacturing the product. That's exactly what that means. We have currently 10 products on the market that have this zero label, and there'll be another 20 coming next year. Gentlemen, go. Now the panel is on the suction cups right now. It's elevated up in the air. You do want to be careful, especially like near the edges, that we don't smash into those. My standard thing to do right about now would be to lean up against the side here so I would have a straight line of mortar running across my shirt. I'm trying very hard to avoid doing that. So far, I'm very proud of myself, but you know what? There's still plenty of time. Go right ahead, Dave. Now we want to go ahead, you spread out the mortar, and now we're going to go ahead and gauge it, for lack of a better word. That's what the trowels are doing. They're gauging the thickness of the mortar. This is important. You see that little holiday right there, or that little empty spot. You don't want to leave that, okay? Because that's where, if somebody walks on it or drops something on it, that's where you would have a problem. So you're pulling the mortar, and the way they're going to go ahead and trowel this mortar, it's going to have a spine basically right down the middle. And you're pulling the mortar all the way to the end. Now you can see Tom, see how he's pulling it towards the edge and making sure that we have mortar all the way up to the end. That's crucial in the longevity and performance of this product. And when I say this product, I'm talking about the large panels. So this type of installation is just not your father's installation. It's just different. It's a 2024 installation is the way I like to think about it. This is a great look. It requires some modern technology to get it there. The manufacturing process is state-of-the-art. The mortar is state-of-the-art. Why can't the installation side of it be state-of-the-art also? And it is. We've changed things up. We would never go ahead and normally in the past and spread mortar like that. But this is the best standard. And this came from, again, in Europe for 20 years. This is what they've been doing in front of us. This has all been done through trial and error, and they've learned that this is the proper way to get the job done. So understanding how much mortar is on the table, removing any excess is important and the key. Combing it out, having the ridges stand up, and also having the proper tools is going to be the best way to go ahead and ensure that you have a great looking job. By the way, we were talking earlier about my bathroom. I do plan on doing ceiling, wall, and floor in these large panels. I have a sunken shower that drops down. I plan on floating across using pedestals and having the water just disappear. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I'll let you know when I find out. But it is going to be a big job, and I don't know if the homeowner, my wife, is quite aware of the process that's getting ready to happen. I think I'm going to send her up to see her mother for a week, so that way she can come home and be surprised. Check the panel before you go. You feeling good? Okay, a couple of things. First things first, you always want to spread the panel first. Why? It takes a little bit longer. It's a little bit more. I can't slop it all around. I've got to take my time and make sure I'm doing a nice, neat, pretty job. Second thing is then you would spread the floor if we were putting it on the floor, or in this case, we're going to go ahead and put it on the wall. Next thing, we need to measure the distance of the panel, and then we need to transfer those lines onto the wall. Now we're going to put two lines because we're going to put a second panel up against it. The reason for that is the first line is the width of the panel, so it gives us a nice straight level edge to work from. But then an inch or two over is going to be that second line, where we want to carry the mortar past the first line, so when we put the second tile on there, we're not bumping our trowel up against the finished, clean, pretty tile edge and getting mortar all over the place. Not only do we have to do this right, we've got to do this cleanly, if that's such a thing. And so by pulling the mortar past it, then we can go ahead and trowel mortar on the wall for the second panel that we're going to put up without the backside touching the panel. So we're clean. Measure, transfer the lines onto the wall, then come back and trowel the walls, the next thing that we're going to do. Use a level. All right, let's spread some mortar. Tom and Dave are at it, and just to let you know, this is a really good opportunity to have a person who's 6'5", because a person who's 5'7" would be jumping up and down trying to reach midway up on top of there, but a person 6'5" has got it covered. Okay, while the guys are doing the wall, you're going to notice some similarities. Same thing that they did on the panel laying flat. They went ahead and they flat troweled the wall to make sure that the mortar was pushed in all the nooks and crannies, making complete 100% contact with that surface. Now they're going ahead and combing in the notches in there, and then we're going to marry the two up. The panel's going to get married up to the wall. When we do this, then there's going to be some tools that are necessary to help move and squeeze that air out. My friend just pointed out a really good point. The reason that we trowel both sides like this on the panels, we basically put a spine down the middle here. Think about your spine when you go to the chiropractor. They're trying to keep it aligned, and when they're cracking your back, they're popping that air out in between there and making sure that that spine stays aligned. That's exactly what can happen here now. This gives us an opportunity to get that air and move that air out of here. And you want to comb them in the direction of the shortest width or length, because it's going to be easier for that air to move from here to there than it would be if we troweled this thing up and down. It would have to be from the middle this way. That's a long distance for that air to travel and get out of the system. Okay, we're ready for the next step. But before we go any further, if you have any questions, what are you supposed to do? That's right, type it into the chat down below. Don't leave here with any questions. You have the opportunity to have access to the experts, and you get all of your answers according to industry standards, not to myth and legends. According to industry standards, which is really important. This, of all the products I've done in the ceramic tile business, this requires things to be done a certain way. There's not a lot of room for freestyling, because freestyling goes ahead and creates problems with cracking and breaking. So this has standards. We're discussing them right now. If you have questions, type them in the chat.
let's go explain, what's the process now.
Yes, please.
Because we need to go install this one vertical, to the wall.
Correct.
And it's very important, look at this. I don't want to, go like in the bottom, because what happened? I'm closing the air.
Right.
I don't want to go the top first, because I'm closing the air. I don't want the sides, because I'm closing the air. I just want to lift and go straight to the wall. When it's aligned to the, the line,
right.
You have a laser, you follow the laser. You have a choke line,
right.
You follow. Then, like I said, this is a teamwork.
Yes.
You need to listen to the boss. He says a little bit to the left, a little bit, right, but ready, go, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Now, it's very important, do not handle the panel. If you need to move, you need to use the frame.
Correct.
Because if you try to help and you pick it up by the panel, what you can do is it's going to make maybe the panel fail, or maybe you push it, wrong, and you close in the air,
right.
And that's going to be very bad installation.
Correct. You don't want to manhandle the panel. Use the tools that are designed to do this to minimize the impact of having air trapped behind there.
And because it's the floor, we already set up the transporter 3/8 because we don't want the panel touching the floor.
Correct.
This transporter has like a rubber or the metal. That's why you want to have 3/8 of the inch, a little, forward, advance of the panel. That way, when you stand up, the panel is not touching the floor. It's just the frame.
So I can adjust the panels on the frame to how much of a gap I have down at the bottom?
So you can adjust it, It's very easy, that's the reason, when we do, training in the store, it's very important that you guys go to those trainings.
Yes,
so because we always, support you guys by level of every store. Now, remember, you can see, you guys did a perfect, job here. But now, the process is we need to transport this one here in the floor. And then in the floor, I need to remove the handles and make, themselves, to start moving vertical. It's going to be fun.
All right.
It's going to be fun. Remember, it's very important that you know what kind of material because it's going to be more heavy now.
Okay. Yep. I'll tell you what, I'll get out of the way. You take charge. Let's get this thing up.
Remade you guys. That's going to be helping me, and that's going to be good. All right, you're the tall guy. I need you in that corner because this is the button, and for now, when I move it on, I will need you in that side when I move it. Go over there, and we're going to lift. Remember, first, we check suction cups, that everything is working good. How do you know? The suction have a red line. If you see the red line showing, that means, that the suction cup is not working. Everything is hidden, that means, suction cup is okay. When we count 2, 3, we're going to put it in the floor. 1, 2, 3, up, and put it in the floor. Right now, that's good. Now, I need you in this size for a moment. I'm going to remove this. You can do 1 or 2. Or you can move it, back. That way, this is not going to be touching the floor. Or you can take it off. Whatever you decide is good for me. The thing is, I just want to be this rubber is the one that is going to be in the floor. All right? Now, I'm going to lift it. And when you turn this side, and I'm going to put this one in the floor. I'll be handed like this. 1, 2, 3, up. Turn upside down. Go this way, you guys. Go. That's good. All right. Let me go this way. Now we're going to pick it up. 1, 2, 3, up. Let's go closer. Pick it up. We go closer, like 6 inches. Go 1, 2, 3. Now that's good. Now, Sam, you're going to be the boss. You let me know if I need to move left or right.
Gotcha.
All right? And I'll be paying attention to the top. You pay attention to the middle, and you pay attention to the bottom. We want to be flat. Remember what I said.
You're pretty good right where you're at.
1, 2, 3, put it on. That's good?
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
I can live with that.
You can live with that. Now, before I do it, remember, I was leaving a gap. See, you can put, some of those level in the bottom. You have more? Yes.
So now the panel's making contact mortar to mortar we're making contact. Now, our next mission here is to squeeze that air and get that air up and out of there now that we've got it contacted to the wall. And that's important because you think to yourself, well, it's on a wall. Why can't I have some air trapped in there?
Yes. If I pull it,
right,
suction cups,
yeah.
If the suction cup is still working,
yeah.
I can bring it with me.
That's right. And also, too, once it's up onto the wall and the mortar's dried and there's an air pocket behind there, I can tell you Murphy's Law, that'll be where you drill a hole to put a towel rack and that whole thing will shatter and break right there. Or you'll swing the door open, the handle will bump the wall right there and hit that air pocket. You want to make sure that what we're putting up on the wall is staying up on the wall, and the way we do that is to get all that air up and out of there.
It's very important if you need to move at this moment, the slab is just moving, by the frame. If I need to go up, I need to go, you check the line. If that's perfect, this is the next step before we remove this one.
Okay.
We call, the top. So basically the top is like a, start removing. Remember we were talking about the spinal.
Correct.
We want to go start in the middle.
Correct.
And I don't want that you hit like this. Its proper way is going like an angle, go like this. You know how I call this? The release of the stress. If I was having a bad day, I left home fighting with my wife because she was complaining about my mess. I said, oh my gosh. But that's what I release my stress. That's exactly, I want to hear that.
Now what he's doing is he's sealing up that middle row, right? So now the air is onto the two sides. The next thing he's going to do is...
I just want to keep about 2 to 3 inches from the
top.
And then go down.
So he's effectively put a spine right down the middle now of the contact with the mortar where there is no air trapped behind there.
Now, we know already, it's already worked, that we do this, we release the suction cups. You can use the lip.
It's good to have a tall guy on the team.
Yep.
I would have needed to stand on a bucket to get that. I'm just saying.
Now you can take this out and next part is, we don't finish yet, is now we did it just the middle.
Correct.
We just want to do now the size. We want to just start remove those hair. So basically, because I'm going to install another tie here,
right.
I just want to keep about
2 inches.
2 to 3 inches. Go again to the middle. I don't have nothing here.
Right.
That means,
I can go all the way.
I can go all the way. Now, go back to the middle, go up.
So what he effectively did was he just put a cross on there. He sealed up the middle. He sealed up the middle. Now it's in 4 quadrants, and now he's just working 1 quadrant at a time, taking the air out, squeezing, starting from the middle to the outside, and taking that air and pushing it and squeezing it out of there to ensure that we have a 100% monolithic layer of mortar behind that panel. Look at that. That is
I'm going to need the taller guy helping me later on in the top.
That is a beautiful look. Look at that. Out of a piece of porcelain tile. So many times I've seen jobs where I thought they were marble and I had to go up and get right on top of it to make sure that it was marble or porcelain tile. That is gorgeous right there. And in a bathroom environment, there's going to be less grout joints, which is less places for dirt and things to hide and find. It's going to be easier to clean and maintain. It's going to create a beautiful look, and it's just a 2024 look. It's not a 1983 thing.
Now, the next step is to use a vibrator machine. It's basically now to move, the air with something stronger than that.
Okay.
We had 2 different devices that you can use.
Okay.
1 minute?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank
wow.
You want to hold that one?
Yeah, I'll hold this one.
All right.
Look at that.
All right. We're talking about the vibrator machine. We have 2 different vibrator one is a battery power.
Okay.
The other one is electric. Another good thing is this one also is coming soon, battery power too.
Wow.
Because in some cases in the job site, you don't have power.
Right.
I prefer the electrical, it's never fail.
Right.
But battery power is always help in those places, especially commercial, that don't have. All right, this in particular is also like a little suction cup, but it's not like a handle, material. It's just to put it on, put the suction cup, and vibrate. So basically, you have one specific area that you need to do more vibration. That's what you want to use.
Perfect.
I'm going to use this one.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay.
I'm going to do a little bit. Most of the time, this is the way that you want to do it. The same way that I was doing, this, but we already know that I was hitting very hard.
Right.
The corner. Basically, what I want to do is just. The idea is you need to vibrate the whole panel.
Correct.
But just remember, next to this is going to be another panel, another piece. It's going to be, I always keep about 2 inches, 3 inches.
Right. I don't want to close that up because I got to be able to put my spacers
And
shims.
second is a trick how to put, those divisors. A big mistake, I want to be clear with this one. They call in self-leveling, clips or spacers. I don't call self-leveling spacers. I call Lippage device. What does it mean? It's to avoid that one tile is higher than the other one.
Right.
Of course, we're selling those in different sizes, from 132 to 316.
So what we're talking about in different sizes is the thickness of the gap in between one panel to the other.
But now, what I see, the most popular, in sales in the United States is the 132. And the problem is, the installer using those devices as a spacers.
Oh.
Let me ask a question. Do you have any grout that fit in the 132?
No.
What is the minimum grout that I can go?
1/8 inch minimum.
All right.
16.
Is pushing.
Is pushing.
But because NTCA advised the minimum grout is going to be 116, but you need to remember you need to leave a space around the tile.
Correct. And from a grout guy's standpoint, understand why. What is grout? It has sand in it. So how big is that grain of sand that's inside of there? It has to be just powder, baby powder. So you want to use, you do want to have some place for things to expand. I want a 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch because and if this is in my shower at nighttime, I turn my air conditioner down this time of year. I'm a Floridian, I'm sorry. I turn my air conditioner down to 68, 69 degrees. So that means that tile is 68, 69 degrees. When my alarm goes off in the morning, I go make coffee, and then I come straight into the bathroom and turn the hot water on to take a shower. And so it goes from 68, 69 degrees to 105 degrees in 2-3 minutes. You don't think that's stress on that panel? You don't think that there's some expansion and contraction going on in that panel? I need the room for that to happen. And so that room is that gap or that space that we're going to put right there.
Another big mistake that I see in the job sites is showers.
Yeah.
They put the panel first before the shower floor. And they need to have also a gap between the walls and the floor.
Correct.
So if you don't make that one before, I prefer to do my shower floor before I do the installation. And then anyway, I'll be using the same technique to leave a gap. I'll be using, the silicone corky waterproof in those edges. That's what you have in every color of the grout.
Well, you brought up a really good point about doing the floor first before the walls, because if I do the walls first and then the floor comes up to it, as water runs down, it can get up and underneath the system. If I do the floor and then the wall sits on top of it, it comes down and then runs to the drain. It doesn't get up and around underneath the system. So I want to do that floor first and then drop my walls down on top of it. And I need to have that space. Like you or I need room to expand and contract a little bit. In that shower, in the corners, on the floor, like I was telling you, I plan on putting tile up on my ceiling. I don't know why, but I'm held to a different standard, and my wife wants me to impress all her friends.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put tile up on the ceiling. I'm gonna need a gap up at the top, I'm gonna need a gap down at the bottom, and at every seam and at every transition, I'm gonna need that gap in there.
Yeah, that's very important that you need to know.
Yeah.
Your setting material, you need to know the tools, and you need to know what is knowledge. Like you told me before, knowledge, I can control that one.
Right, that's right, that's right.
But the experience, you get it by doing the job.
Right, I can't teach experience. No. Experience teaches you is one of my mottos that I have. And I have these little sayings written down in a book at my desk just to keep myself on track.
I'm gonna prepare, to pick, to build, all the other piece.
Okay.
If you want to explain, or I help you, to explain about the devices, how you install those.
Well, you can explain the devices. They're your devices. So let's bring them out here. And first off, they're lovely kits.
Yeah, well, this is, the Delta, and that's the Cyclone. That's two different ones. Just give me 1 minute.
Yes.
Because he'd bring me, the bucket, but I have all the clips right here. I have it separate. Well, excuse me. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right. Basically, what he opened is we have two different styles. One is basically like a screw, but this is what is making, the lippage, be avoid. And this is the other two that go with this. The difference between one and the two, a lot of people are asking me, what is the difference and which one is best? You like Toyota, you like Ford, you like Chevy.
Right.
It's no matter, but it's always a way to do this. So basically, remember, this is going to be as a leveling clip. It's good for the lippage. I don't use this as a spacer. If I want to use as a spacer, I'm going to tell you why. I'm the technical demonstrator for, and they call me and they said, the plastic is cutting bad.
Yeah. It's
getting, on top of the tile. Because they forgot that Mapei is a very strong mortar.
Yes.
And the plastic is now touching, the tile, and it's not breaking.
Right.
And the problem is, in some cases, when you try to break, you chip the panel. You don't want to do that one. That's the reason I like to use the same, horses. And what I do it is, basically, you need to leave from the bottom or the corners about 2 to 3 inches. That's why you install the first one. And how you do it, I learned this one, that sometimes you need to put a little, mortar, but you do it like an angle. If you messed it up, if you put it in the wrong space, do not move it.
Right.
Why?
Because you'll leave a void back behind there.
And second, you're already blocking the air again.
Right.
So basically, what you want to do an angle, you put it on and leave it on. And then the second, I do two different ones, and I like to use as my mark. I usually use the trowel.
Okay.
And that's what I said. Okay, I put that one here.
Oh,
this is going to be my second one.
That's a great tip
and
right there.
And then I go here and put the other one. So that's the correct way. Remember, 2 inches to 3 inches from the tops and the bottom. And then now, when you install the second part, it's very important that before you tie it up, or you put, the wedges or that, clean the edges.
Yes.
Use like a brush, clean that mortar between those devices if you want to use. I never like to use this device as my spacers. If this, I'm using right now 1/16, I'll be using horse saws of the 1/8. But if you want to use 132, use the horse saws of the 1/16. That way, you have 1/16 spacer. Again, in the floor, I go 1/8.
Yes.
In the walls, because my wife always, want the minimum girl, I go 1/16.
Okay.
But again, don't go smaller than that size. And that's the problem that we are facing now.
Yes.
With a lot of people using the 132 leveling clips.
Well, there's too many people out there saying, well, I can do it without any grout joints at all. No, you cannot. I'm going to say that out loud right now. No, you cannot. It will not survive no grout joints. Like you and I, we're constantly expanding and contracting. Same thing is happening here. You might not be able to see it with your eye, but a 16th, if one panel and one panel are next to each other and you have a 16th inch gap, that panel only needs to move a 32nd of an inch 2/32 of an inch, give me a 1/16. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of movement at all. Now we're getting really skinny. So add some spaces in there.
And it's funny because today we have, from your team, we have people that coming from the West Coast.
Yeah.
We coming from the East Coast.
Yeah.
What is the most popular problem in the West Coast? Earthquake.
Earthquakes.
Constantly, movement.
That's right.
Constantly is moving
Yeah.
over there in the, on the West Coast.
Yes.
That's what you need to be careful. You need to learn
Yes.
how to use the proper, rules.
Right.
We're going to be back. We're going to set up. If you have any questions about this Lippage device,
What
if you
do
have
we-
any questions about, anywhere.
Where do we do? Where do we go?
Go start writing.
Write it in the chat.
Question.
Ask
you
that
can do also
question.
in Spanish if you have any question. I'll be in
I
that.
like that. Ask that question. All right, I'm back. All right, what you're seeing here is this gets a little tricky, a nice thin piece like this. So they're using just one section of that carrier. That's why we're holding it and balancing it across here. Tom is going ahead and Tom is combing everything out. Once again, we're gonna comb it straight across and we're gonna marry it up to what Dave's got going on there. Thank God 6'5" is up there. He could reach the top without a bucket or a ladder. I am on ladder restrictions, so my wife put me on that. So what we're doing, just make sure you get the proper amount of mortar. You have extra mortar like Tom has. Tom, here. Hold this. There. You want to scoop? You want more? Or you want to scoop that off? Oh.
Don't worry, we can.
Let's get Tom a sponge. All right. This, of all the installs you're going to do, this is kind of like doing glass tile in the sense you need to be clean, you need to be conscious of your area. Again, the area that you're working in can't be crowded. You can't put yourself in a scenario where I'm going to pick this thing up and now I got to walk over and around something or somebody else. If there are other people in the room, they got to go. They got to go.
And if you drop water or you bring mortar, you need to be careful because that's gonna be a slipper.
Right, you wanna work clean here. Just take your time, make sure you're working nice and clean and that you get everything done the proper way. There you go.
Team.
Right. So having the tools, the right tools, having the right mortar, and the right environment, this is going to look amazing. We put the spacers in. When we put the spacers in, or the leveling clips in, or the
leveling, I call it Lippage.
Right, when we put the Lippage control devices in, I alternated them because I asked you which one to put. So it's every other one. So you don't have to do that on a job site. I'm just trying to show you both varieties and both methods that you have available to you.
Yeah, it's like depending on what's your preference.
Yep, right. And what you're comfortable with. The spinny, I call them spinny caps. I don't know what else to call them. I've nicknamed them the spinny caps and it's stuck. I like the spinny caps, but I
like the spinner because if you tie it up and you need to clean, it's easy to remove.
Right.
And you clean. The wedge, you need to, before you really go tie it up, you need to be sure that you clean.
Yes.
So that's, you asking me which one is my preference?
Yeah.
For this kind of installation, I like, the one that is spin.
I like the spinny caps. For me, they do the job for me, and like you said, I like that technology. And by the way, we didn't talk about the reusability of them. So that first part that we put in, that's the waste part. That's going to get thrown away. The base is going to be behind the panel for the rest of its entire life as long as that panel is up there. The stem that comes out on the spinny cap one, or the tab that comes out, that's what gets broken off. But what gets saved is the wedge and the spinner. That gets saved. Yeah, you're gonna need some mortar on there.
More mortar. Right here.
And again, you can't have a big, as far as I'm concerned, 4 people per crew is the way to go here. There's 3 different sets of eyes besides yours, and it just requires that many people. I know that seems like a lot, and well, it's easier if I just went with regular tile. Yeah, it is. You know what? But you're not gonna get that look. You're not gonna get that look. You're gonna get a look, you're not gonna get that look. And like I said, my wife, this is what's getting ready to happen in my house right here because it's that look. I'm held to a different standard. We all are.
And I'm sure that in Floor Decor, they can tell you the story that people want to buy those panels or they want to buy, those big large format tile. And the customer come back and say, oh, my installer don't want to do it because he says don't fit in my house.
Right.
That's baloney.
Right.
That fit. The problem is maybe he's afraid to do the job.
Yeah, he doesn't know how. Again, clear the space.
All right.
You guys ready?
I'm going to need the tall guy.
Tall guy.
Now we're going to do between 2 guys. Basically, we're going to lift. And now I'm getting close.
You're the bottom?
On the bottom.
Okay.
And then you go up, up, up. Now, you want to be careful that you don't put this one that you touch, the leveling clip first. When we're ready, we're going to lift it, and we're going to put it on. You watch the top. And now 1, 2, 3, up. That's it. We go down. That's perfect. I need now the tap. But this time, it's just only Now, I already did. Let's go remove the transporter. And now, basically, if I need to move, now is the moment to move.
Before it gets locked into place, before all that air gets squeezed out, now is the moment.
Yeah. Once I do already remove, most of the time, what I do is first tap the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if I need to put another tie here, but nothing is going to be here, I complete it now. If you look at now, you will see some of the mortar is getting moved already. Now, after that, that's when we use this one first.
Okay.
Let me clean my hands.
Yes.
All right. And basically, now I'm going to concentrate first to move.
Middle. And we're going to go up.
And now that's the moment that I come here. And you can see now it's level. But once that we start putting on the clips, that's what I need to know, where exactly I need to keep vibrating. And now I do the whole thing.
Okay, one of the things I want to point out that I just noticed was that has a little headlight on it.
Yeah.
That headlight, that's important because for the most part, like if you've done commercial work or even remodel work, a lot of times you just have a light bulb hanging up above your head. They haven't completed you don't have all the lights that you need. By doing that now, you can see the area that it's in front of you, what needs to get addressed.
Before I move it,
Yes, sir.
I like to be sure that I clean those edges.
Yes.
Like I said, be sure. Most of the time, I'll be using one of those vinyl, brushes.
Yes.
To be sure that I clean it.
Yeah.
I just want to explain to this that you're supposed to clean everything before, and after that you clean. That's the reason I love this one, because if I tie it up, and once I tie it up, I see that most mortar is coming out. I can lose it and put it back.
Now, you're not over tightening that, right?
No.
You're just snugging that up and watching as those panels line up. The purpose here is that I'm not trying to screw the panel down. I'm trying to make sure that the panels line up with each other.
Look at this.
Perfect.
You see, you're not touching.
Right.
Lippage is correct.
Correct.
The problem is with this one, if I need to move to clean, that's going to be a little hard.
Yes.
In that case, I prefer to use those kinds.
Right.
But again, they both working perfectly.
Yep.
It's just how to clean.
Yep.
Now, next day, a lot of people are asking how much time I need to wait for remove this.
Yeah.
Most of the time I said, if you finish at 6 o'clock today,
Yeah.
come back tomorrow, and then you can braid those. But that don't mean you can put grout.
Right. Right. And that's a good point. If we're going to put a cement-based grout behind here, and I've got a panel that's 4 foot across, that moisture that's trying to escape that mortar that's back there has to now travel at least 2 feet in either direction to get to the edges, and the only place it can escape from is out that joint right there. So you want to give it a little bit of time to make sure you're not trapping that moisture behind there. A lot of times I'll get people saying, oh, your grout is discolored or it's splotchy. And what happened was they didn't wait enough time for the moisture to come out of the system, and now it's coming up and it's attacking the back of that mortar. And then it's funny when they say, oh, I can see spots. I can't make spotty grout. How would I be able to make spotty grout and you be able to go ahead, mix it up, and trowel it into place? No, what's happening is the mortar in the seam is pushing up, and where it's deeper, it's getting darker, and or it's getting lighter, and where it's taller or closer to the surface, it's getting darker there. The faster water comes out of the grout, the darker the grout. The longer water stays in grout, the lighter the grout. In anybody's cement-based grouts.
So basically now, we're done. Now I want to explain something.
Yes, sir.
This is in the wall.
Yeah.
If we want to do the same thing in the floor, same material, same tile. Now the difference is, remember, we use a tapper for going in the middle. When you do the floor, basically, if this is the floor, I step in the middle of the tile, and then I go do, you know.
Wait, you're not supposed to walk on the tile when there's wet mortar underneath there.
I remember I told you this is different now.
Yeah.
That's when you need to check how flat is your floor.
Yeah.
Preps.
Yep.
Now you walk, but you don't want to walk big step.
No.
You just want to do the cha-cha slide,
right.
You know, like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like a walking. And that's when you do it all the way. Once that you finish that corner, you turn, and you come back to the other end, you step out. Remember, you have the transporter. That's when you remove the transporter, move it away. Now the same person is going to be a star 3 inches separate, you know, from the bottom. And now in the middle, go to the side. If you plan to put another tile next to that one, you need to leave 3 inches. Send to the other way. You go here, and you go do that one. The whole tile process is going to be the same. Now, if I want to do the second panel, how much time I have between I install one in the floor to get to the next one? Because it's going to be very stupid that I just only have time for one panel and I have 3,000 square feet in the house.
Yeah.
But you have a limited time that I can step in this properly.
You're on the clock. And here's what happens with a cement-based mortar. When you're reading the bag and it tells you got a 45-minute open time or an hour open time or a 2-hour open time, what that means is that the chemical process of the water penetrating the cement particle and it's starting to grow its spikes and developing strength, that's how much time you have. Once it starts to grow its spikes, then you can no longer walk on top of there. It's just going to fall off. It's not going to bond. So again, reading those instructions and understanding the open time that you have to work with products. Sometimes you're going to have to just do 1 panel or 2 panels and then go ahead and wait.
I would say too, you know, when you do a floor specific,
is
if I did that one first, I put, you know, a blue tape to let me know this is the first tile that I did.
Yes.
That means I have, maybe now it's not 45 minutes because I need to prep for the next one.
Right.
And you see the process take, you know, at least 20 to 25 minutes to prep. So I still have like 20 more minutes to step in this.
Yes.
And people think, oh, don't step. No, the more that you step, help you know to remove
that air.
You know, that air. But once that you put the second piece, now you need to remember, this is the last time you're going to be stepping in that tile.
Correct.
Then I said, I'm going to put another blue tape in the other one, and I go install the next one. Because you don't want to pass and damage, you know, the process of the setting materials.
The setting materials. Very good. Very good.
Well, you have any questions?
You know where to
Start
go.
writing. I know it's a lot of questions because this is like a out of the regular installation of tile. And people are afraid to do that. They're afraid to work. They don't know how to cut. They don't know how to transport. They don't know the basic rules about be flat surface.
Right.
I don't want to use level because level is something else.
Yeah,
flat
that's
is
a whole
something
different.
else.
That's
a different story, you know. But flat surface is the most important part. Same thing now that you can see the table a little bit more. That table need to be also adjusted before you start cutting. Because if you leave one on the table, hide the other one, you put the panel, that panel is going to be break back.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So if I wanted to learn about this, where could I go and learn about this?
Well, we have a lot of trainings, right now in the stores, and then, we do NTCA training.
At the stores?
At the stores. We do also, we partnership, Mapei and Rubi,
Right.
They do a lot of training, explain the same process. Maybe we don't do, a big panel, but we take it to 48 by 48. It's the same.
The same system, the same setup. System. So where do I find that information at? Is it on the website, or how do I find that information?
Well, go floordecor.com. And they can see, the training that they have for the NTCA. Most of the time I see already, they send you emails, let it know this day they're gonna have a training in this location, or Mapei is gonna be over there, or Ruby's gonna be here, and that's good because they keep you informed as a pro installer or as a homeowner.
Right.
Because I see in some of this training now, a lot of homeowners want to learn how to do that.
Right. Well, and also too, a lot of times, anything that's getting done in my house now, even if I'm not going to do it, I'll go ahead and research the heck out of it. So when the person is doing it, I can go, no, you're not supposed to do that now. And there I am correcting a professional. But you know what? The good part about this is there's lots of really good installers out there, but they know what they know. Come and step up to the next level. Take a class, sit down, watch and learn, ask questions directly, take your game up to the next level. This is what's happening. This is becoming very, very, very popular here in the United States. It's a good look. It looks great. There's a multitude of designs and patterns that are out there. And if you can separate yourself from everyone else, you can go ahead and get those good jobs, those ones that you want to have.
Remember, we're here, to help you to have sales.
Yes.
That's our goal.
Yep.
So we want to help you guys to be comfortable, that you have, okay, I can sell this one because I know what I'm selling.
Yep.
And I know the process. That's why we do all this training to the level of the stores. Also, NTCA do the workshops.
Yep.
It's 2-hour workshop. This is very important because you will learn the proper way to do, the job site. Also, they help you to be certified. We try, to get, this. Everybody looks like the installer, like just only, it's an installer.
Right.
In Europe, being an installer is a profession.
A whole different ball game.
Different game over there. You need to be, I was in Spain, and when they told me the process to be a helper, I was oh my gosh, 2 years be as a helper before I go to the board, present myself to be an installer.
Well, over in Europe, just to point that out, mosaic tile, that's a different person. A ceramic tile person does not install mosaic tiles. There's a mosaicist, and there's different levels. Once again, you have to serve an apprenticeship. You'll wear a different uniform too, by the way. So on a job site, they'll be able to look and go, he's an apprentice, he's a journeyman, he's the master installer. So keep training. You never know enough stuff. Every time I think I know everything, every time I think I know everything, I find out I don't know enough.
Well,
and things change.
I don't know
right,
nothing.
right.
Every day is something new in the market.
That is true.
Every
that is
day.
true.
But this is what we want you guys to understand. You have questions now, right?
Right.
But take advance every time when you see our reps in your store.
Yep.
Hey, I have questions about this. I have questions about that. We are there for, we don't want to be, in the store looking like we pretty,
Yep.
Well, we never pretty because we always sweating.
That's right.
But the sales rep, they always looking nice, But again, take advantage of that. We are here, to help you, to make sales. What do you think?
I think we're good. So, you have any questions at all? Type them into the chat. I hope you learned something here. My friend, thank you so much.
Nice to see you again.
And listen, he's a brother of mine. I'm sure he is. We think and feel the same way. We have the same passion about what we do for a living and educating the next generation. By the way, for a little bit, I was worried about the next generation, but I'm not worried about them now. I see some really good young installers coming up. This is an honorable trade. That's the other thing. We were brought up in the school system that we had to go to college and we had to do this and that. Let me tell you something. I have several friends that grew up in this business and started this business. They're multimillionaires because they took pride in the work that they did. They learned the business aspect of it, and they're doing very, very well. You think about about it. Not one certificate of occupancy is given to a commercial building or a residential building until they put the floor in. You know what? They're waiting on us. Let's give them the most beautiful floor we can possibly give them. Let's work with the proper tools, work with the proper materials, and constantly learn and educate ourselves. Hey, I want to thank everybody for taking their time. Watch us. Thank you. If you have any questions at all, type them down in that chat, and you'll get them answered. Thank you very much. Do good work. Be proud of the work you do. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud to do this with you.
See you around.
See you around.
See you around.